leave the street, and drouthy neighbours meet, as market days are wearing late and folk begin to tack the gate. As we sit boozing at the nappy and getting fou and unca happy, we think now o' the lang Scotch miles, the mosses, waters, slaps and stiles that lie between us and our hame, where sits our sulky, sullen dame, gathering her brews like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. This truth van honest Tam O'Shanter, as he frae airy nicht did canter, all dear, whom ne'er a tune surpasses, for honest men and bonny lasses. Ah, Tam, had thou but been so wise as ta'e thine wife Kate's advice, she told thee well thou was a skellum, a bletherin' blusterin' drucken blellum, that frae November to October, market night thou wasna sober, that ilka melded with the miller, thou sat as long as thou had siller, that every naig was caught a shoe on, the smith and thee got roaring fou on. That at the Lord's house, even on Sunday, thou drank with Curtin Jean till Monday. She prophesied that later soon thou would be found deep drowned in Doon, or catched wi' warlocks o' the mirk by Alloway's old haunted kirk. Ah, gentle dames, it gars me greet to think who many counsels sweet, who many lengthened sage advices, the husband frae the wife despises. But to our tale. Market night, Tam had got planted uncorrect, fast by an ingle bleezing fidely, where Raymond swats it drank divinely. And at his elbow, suitor Johnny, his ancient, trusty, drouthy crony. Tam looed him like a vera brother. They had been fou for weeks together. The night drave on with sangs and clatter, and aye the ale was growing better. The landlady and Tam grew gracious, with secret favours sweet and precious. The suitor told his queerest stories, the landlord's laugh was ready chorus. The storm without make rear and rustle, Tam didna mind the storm a whistle. Care, mad to see a man so happy, een drowned himsel among the nappy. As bees flee hame wi' leads o' treasure, the minutes winged their way with pleasure. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious. Oh, all the ills of life, victorious. But pleasures are like poppies spread. You seize the flower, its bloom is shed. Or like the snow falls in the river, a moment white, then melts forever. Or like the borealis race that flit ere you can point their place. Or like the rainbow's lovely form, ye vanishing amid the storm. Nae man can tether time nor tide. The hour approaches, Tam and ride. That hour o' nicht's black arch the keystone, that dreary hour Tam mounts his beast in, and sick and nichty tacks the road in, as ne'er fair sinner was abroad in. The wind blew as 'twad blown its last, the rattling showers rose on the blast, the speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep and lang the thunder bellowed. That nicht a child might understone, the deil had business on his own. Well mounted on his grey-mared meg, a better never lifted leg, Tam skelpit on through dub and mire, despising wind and rain and fire, whilst hugging fast his gid blue bonnet, whilst crooning o'er some old Scotch sonnet, whilst glowering round with prudent cares, lest bogles catch him unawares. Kirkalloway was drawing nigh, where geese and hullets nichtly cry. By this time he was crossed the ford, where in the snow the chapman smoored, and through the winds and by the cairn, where hunters spun the murdered bairn, and near the thorn abin the well, where Mungo's mither hanged hersel. Before him, Doon pours o' his floods, the Dublin storm roars through the woods. The speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep and lang the thunder bellowed. when glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirk Alloway seemed in a bleeze. Through ilka bore the beams were gladsome, and loud resounding mirth and dancing. Inspired bold John Barleycorn, what dangers thou canst make us scorn. Wi' Tiffany we fear nae evil, wi' us, Quibby, we'll face the devil. The swat sae reamed in Tammy's noddle, fair play he cared the deals a bodle, but Maggie stood recht sair astonished, till by the heel and horn admonished, she ventured forward on the left, and wow, Tam saw an unca sicht. Warlocks and witches in a dance, nae cotillion brent you frae France, but hornpipes, jigs, spies and reels, but life and metal in their heels. A winnock bunker in the east, there sat old Nick in shape o' beast. A towsy tyke he was, black, grim and large, to gie them music was his charge. He screwed the pipes and got them skirl, till roof and rafters on did dirl. Coffins stood round like open presses that showed the deed in their last dresses. And by some devilish cantrip slicked, each in its tall horn held a lift, by which heroic Tam was able to note upon the hairy table a murderer's banes and gibbet airns, twa span-lang wee unchristened bairns, a thief new cutted frae a rape, wi' his last gasp his gab did gape. 5 scimitars with blood red rusted, 5 tomahawks with murder crusted, a garter which a babe had strangled, whom his ain son o' life bereft, a garter which a babe had strangled, a knife a father's throat had mangled, whom his ain son o' life bereft. The grey hairs yet sat to the heft, wi' mair o' horrible and awful, which even to name would be unlawful. 3 lawyers' tongues turned inside out wi' lies, seamed like a beggar's cloot. 3 priests' hearts, rotten, black as muck, lay stinking vile in every nuck. As Tammy glowered, amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancers quick and quicker flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they cleekit, till ilka carlin swat and reekit, and coosed her duddies to the wark, and linkit at it in their sark. New Tam, had they been queens, all plump and strapping in their teens, their sarks, instead of creashy flannel, been snow white 1700 linen. Their breeks of mine, the only pair that yints were plush or good blue hair, I would have given them off my hardies for a blink o' the bonny birdies. But whether beldams old and droll, rigwoody hags would spin a fall, louping and flinging on a crummock, I wonder didna turn thy stomach. But Tam kenned what was what through brawly. There was a winsome wench and Wally, that nicht enlisted in the corps, lang after Kent on Carrick shore. For mony a beast did she shot, and perished mony a bonny boat, and shook baith meikle corn and beer, and kept the countryside in fear. Her sark o' paisley harn, that a lassie she had worn, in longitude though sorely scanty, it was her best, and she was bonty. Ha 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 ha! Little kenned thy reverend granny, that sark she coughed for her wee nanny with £2 Scotch, 'twas all her riches, would ever graced a dad so witches. But here my muse her wingman cour, sick flicks her far beyond her poor, to see who nanny lap and flag, a supple jad she was and strang, and who Tam stood like ane bewitched, and thought his very een enriched. Even Satan glowered and fidged fu' fain, and hotched and blew wi' bicht and main, till thirsty taper, sign another, Tam tint his reason a' thegither, and roars out, "Well done, Cutty Sark! and in an instant all was dark, and scarcely had he Maggie rallied when out the hellish legion sallied. As bees bezoot wi' angry fyke when plundering herds assail their bike, as open pussy's mortal foes when pop she starts before their nose, as eager runs the market crowd when catch the thief resounds aloud, say Maggie rins, the witches follow with money and eldritch screech and hollow. Ah, Tam, thou'll get thy farin, in hell they'll roast thee like a herring. In vain thy Kate awaits thy coming, Kate soon will be a woeful woman. Now, do thy speedy utmost, beg, and win the key stane o' the brig. There at them thou thy tail may toss, a running stream they darena cross. But ere the key stane she could mak, the fiend a tail she had to shack. For Nanny, far before the rest, hard upon noble Maggie pressed, and flew at Tam with furious ettle. But little wist she Maggie's mettle, a spring brocht off her master hail, but left behind her ain grey tail. The Carlin clocht her by the rump, and left puir Maggie scarce a stump. Now, wha this tale of truth shall read, ilk man and mother's son, tak heed. Whene'er to drink you're inclined, or cutty sacks run in your mind, think, ye may buy the joys our dear. Remember Tam O'Shanter's mare.